Ladies and gentlemen, this is Andrew E. Guy. Welcome to another episode of the Ilirpodcast. I'm listening. I'm ready. It is the podcast is dedicated for those who are on the go. Whether you're traveling by land, air, or sea, this is me, Andrew E. Guy. You know I'm excited. I tell you, it's going to be one of those days because every week we come on, we're bringing the energy, we're bringing the thunder, we're bringing the motivation and the encouragement so you can start to listen and take action to change your life. And speaking of life, I am talking to an amazing friend of mine. I'm talking about none other than Mr. Jeff Heggie. This gentleman is an entrepreneur and a success coach with a passion of helping others to achieve their, not smallest, their biggest dream. Let me tell you something. The conversation, it is going to be one that we have to have today. We cannot put it off until tomorrow.
It's the moment you've been waiting for. It's a conversation that must be had today and not tomorrow. Welcome to another episode of I'm Listening, I'm Ready with your host, Andrew E. Guy. Let's talk about it.
So without further ado, please help me welcome my really good friend all the way from down south, Mr. Jeff Heggie. Jeff, say what's up to the people.
Andrew, thank you so much. I love getting on a call with you because I know my energy level is going way up. So thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you.
You're very welcome, my friend. Very welcome. I'm telling you, for those who didn't know, I was on your show yesterday. It was just good times, brother. It seems like I was just sitting there just talking to a brother. I'm talking a brother from another mother, and it was just great conversation. I'm looking for more of those happening. And Heidi, your co-host, it was just a great time. I want to tell you, thank you for having me on the show. It was great. And so today, really, it's your day. I mean, it's everything your day. We want everyone to get out there and find you, and we don't wait. Most hosts, they wait until the end of the show to talk about, the guests and, where they can find you. We do that right off the bat because we don't want to waste time. You're the most important person right now. And so we want to let them know if you are looking for a coach, a mindset coach is going to help you to get on the right path. I want you to run. I want you to skip. I want you to fly and get over there to Jeff's website. And that's Heggie.com, as in JEFFHEGGIE.com. That's the man that we're going to be talking to today. So I know he is going to drop some gems and some nuggets to help you get your mind ready. All right, Jeff, with that being said, please tell us a little bit more about what you do and why people should just come and see you.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you. So I got a diverse background. I graduated with a major in entrepreneurship, but didn't want to go work because I was a pro rodeo cowboy and I just wanted to be a cowboy the rest of my life. But I did get into the banking industry. Then in 2005, I quit and started my own company, a manufacturing company that I ran from 2005 to 2021. But throughout that time, I had so many opportunities to mentor people and coach people through business and different things. And I've been a basketball coach for the last 21 years. And, whether I'm working with entrepreneurs and business owners or athletes, it's all the same thing. It's your success comes from your mindset. And if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to find that success that you're looking for. If you don't have the mindset to get you where you want to go, you're not going to get there. And so that's what, as you said, that's what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about helping people to understand and develop the mindset that is going to help them achieve their goals, help them create the clarity they need to understand where they're trying to get and how they're going to get there. And that's really what I love doing. I love working on that side of things with people. I mean, I love the part where I get to work on someone's business and we get into the financials. But what I really love is helping them get the mindset in place that they know they can do that and figure that out.
Oh my goodness, Jeff. Now, for this series, we're talking about disrupting normalcy. And when we think about normalcy, we think of like water going through all those different states, solid, liquid, and the gaseous state. But a lot of people get stuck in the solid. One of my favorite speakers, Zig Ziglar, once said that we get stuck in the squat. He called it, we get stuck in the squat. That simply means that it's like we're just about to do something, but we never finish it. We are stuck in the squat. We always going to, but never get it done. And speaking of mindset, do you think that mindset could be attributed to some of these things or some of these failures that we have, or not lived successes that end up going to the grave because of our mindset?
Absolutely, 100%. I work with so many people that even when they start to find their success, they sabotage themselves, and it's all because these limiting beliefs they have. And the funny thing is, so many end up being from something a parent or a sibling or something said to them when they were a young kid, and it's stuck with them all throughout their lives, and they don't believe they deserve those successes that they're trying to achieve. But once they can get rid of these limiting beliefs and realize how unstoppable they really are, they can really take off. But if they don't even recognize what those limiting beliefs are, that they have those limiting beliefs that are holding them back, they just, like you say, take them to the grave, and they're holding them back the whole time. But once they can realize that there's a whole nother world past those limiting beliefs that they've got holding them back, they're unstoppable.
Wow. Jeff, that is huge, man. That is huge. Ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to me for the first time, this is Andrew E. Guy on the Ilirpodcast. I'm listening. I hope you are ready. And I'm talking with Mr. Jeff Heggie, this young man, this champion, this mentor of a man is helping to transform the next generation. And I want to help you to understand, if you're not doing anything right now, you should be listening. You should be ready to take a step and get over to jeffheggie.com to get all the information that you need to get on what he's doing in the world. Not about business. It's passion. It's about helping people to understand what's life is like living between ear to ear. And it's about your mindset. And I love that, Jeff. It's what your mind is set on. It's like a dial. My mind is set on failure, so I can't see anything else. So what you're trying to do is to get them to basically keep that clock moving, not set it on one thing, but set it on the desire that they're trying to get. Have you ever had any issue with some of the clients that you had where you've worked with them for, let's say, about a couple of weeks or so, and you're really trying to break up that fallow ground, but they're still locked into a mindset that, oh, this is all I'm going to be? How did you get them out of there?
You know, so much of it comes down to their self-talk. You know, whether I'm working with an athlete or an entrepreneur, it's the self-talk that dictates so much of what they're believing. And again, it's recognizing your self-talk is the first step, because our self-talk is really a series of asking and answering questions in our mind.
Correct.
And you know, people always, whenever I say that, they say, well, is it really? And I said, well, did you not just say, is it really? Yeah, that's a question you just asked yourself. And what we need to be able to do is change the habitual questions that we're asking ourselves. Because once we change those habitual questions, we change what we think about. Once we can change what we think about, we can change our mindset. But when we are always having those negative thoughts, we're having that negative self-talk, we're going to become what we think about. We're not going to be successful if we keep thinking we're not going to be successful. But and it's not realistic that you'll never have any negative thoughts. It's not realistic you'll never have negative self-talk. But the important thing is to recognize it. Once you can get in the habit of recognizing it, then you can interrupt it. Then you can change the thoughts that you're having, and then you can take it in a better direction to help you. But yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. I've worked with people that they say, yeah, I want this. I want to reach these goals. But in their mind, that self-talk is saying, but you can't do it. You can't do it. And so that's what we work on, is we work on recognizing when they're having that self-talk saying, but you can't do it. And change that to, why can't I do it? You know, why not me? If someone else has done it before, why couldn't I do it? And everyone looks at, you know, successful people and say, well, they're different. Well, we can look at millions of people out there that have started below you and rose way above because they believe they could do it. And that's where we got to go, is you've got to believe in yourself and believe in your capabilities, and then you can do it.
You know, Jeff, that is so powerful. I love the way you put it. And I would like to emphasize on that for those who are watching, those who are listening, you know, Jeff was saying that these people that he just coached is saying that, oh, well, they believe that they're different. Yeah, there's some truth to that. Just like the digits on your hand, there are 5, right? 5 digit, but they're 4 fingers, 1 thumb, 5 phalanges. And each of them have a different fingerprint. That's the reason why they got to put all 4 down and then get the thumb. If that was the case, they'll just take 1 and it will suffice for everything, right? But what we have to understand, Jeff, what I also teach is individual. I say, yes, we are different because we have different skill set and we have different background and experiences. But here's the great thing about what we need to understand. We're different, but when we come together, we make a fist so we can pack a punch and then impact our lives and everyone, just like the fingers attached to the palm, that is connected to us. So I use it as a way to help people to understand this is how you get over that mindset. But while you're working the mindset, you're going to have to work the words. And you said that earlier on. The book is on the way. But I also dealt with that too. When I realized people are saying these negative things, Jeff, but what they're doing, they're just recording, saving that bad information on their hard disk. And then when they're sleeping, then that wakes up and begins to talk back to them and play back. So you got to unplug that radio, plug that thing out, smash the record so it won't keep playing. And what you're saying now, you need to come up with a mechanism that's going to help them to get over or to stop that negative self-talk. So what has been the extent in terms of the people that you're working with? Has there been any kind of what would they call it now? Like a fall back, you know, where they resort back to, they've seen success and have their resort back to that negative self-talk? And what did you use or what did you say or what processes did you give them to get out of it, to get back on track?
You know, one of the things, a great example of that is someone that I was working with, and they had some projects they were working on for the summer. So we weren't going to work with each other over the summer.
Right.
And when we took a break before summer hit, they were on a high and things were going great. And she gave me a call about a week ago, I guess it was. And she says, hey, I got this event happening next week and everything's set up perfectly. And everything in my mind's saying I'm going to just crash. It's going to fall apart. And so what we did is we kind of, it took 5 minutes. We talked about, okay, what was the plan to begin with? What were your goals? And one of the things, whenever I work on goals like that, we go through every goal and I have a process where we go deep and figure out their purpose, and figure out their why. And so, okay, so what's your why behind those goals? And that's what's the driving force behind it. And then we talk about what's the things that you can control and what are the things that you can't control. And everything that she can control is in place. And we just talked about that. But really, after 5 minutes, her confidence level was back. And it's just a matter of having that affirmation coming back to you that, yeah, I've done everything I can do to be in control. I've set everything up properly. And I believe in myself. I understand why I'm doing this. I've got a purpose behind this. And I know I've done everything right. And I believe I can do this.
Oh, Jeff, that's just powerful, man. You know, it just reminded me of one of the things I would say, and we're in alignment, we're in congruence, because confidence is a team sport, you know, but courage goes hand in hand. I never believe that we'll have enough courage individually to do all that we need to do and all that we can become as an individual. We're always needing what the next person has. This is why we need all the fingers to come together so we can make that fist, because you can have everything, but one finger sticking out, not complete. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am having this amazing conversation with a great friend of mine, and he's a mindset coach, and he's really transforming the world of athletes and athletics, because he's going out there to help them to understand that it's about the mindset. It's the game beyond the game and the game after the game. His name is Mr. Jeff Heggie, and he's an entrepreneur. We mentioned that. But what I didn't tell you is that he enjoys using his extensive experience in banking, in the banking industry, over 20 years as an entrepreneur, plus his training and experience as a coach, to help his client break through the mental and physical barriers that hold them back. And speaking of that, Jeff, what are some of these mental barriers that you've seen or witnessed over, the period of time that you've been working with these different athletes?
The great thing about what you just said there is I do have all that experience behind me. 20 years as an entrepreneur, 20 years as a basketball coach, all these things. What that means is I failed a lot. I've got a lot of experience failing, and I've got a lot of experience succeeding. And so it gives me the opportunity to not have a whole lot of times that someone comes to me with a barrier that's holding them back that I haven't seen before. And when I've seen it with a client, okay, I can help you with that. But when I've seen it because I've been through it, it's a lot different, because I know what it took to get me through it. And, looking at different barriers, and it's like what I was saying before, most of the barriers that we face, there's always, in business, there's always financial barriers. You've got all these, barriers to entry, all those things, but so many of them are in our minds. The whole idea of, I can't do this because, well, has someone else done it before? Is it, you can't do it because you don't have the financing? Okay, that's a different issue. If you can't do it because you don't believe in yourself and you don't believe you have the capability to do it, then who can? Who do we bring in to help you do those things? And that's been probably one of some of the biggest breakthroughs I've seen, is changing things from looking at things on, how am I going to do it, to who's going to do it. Because that's one of the things I've really noticed with entrepreneurs is entrepreneurs are always saying, okay, I've got this great idea. What do I need to do? But they're not always the best person to do it. Who's the right person to bring in to help me do this is what they need to do. And that's really probably one of the biggest barriers, is figuring out the who, not how.
Oh, that's beautiful. Because even as coach ourselves, we also need coaches, right?
Absolutely.
It's really trying to get people to understand that call for help is basically a mindset of humility. And humility doesn't mean that you raise everyone above yourself. Humility means, in my definition, that every man is my teacher. Every man is my teacher. That means I can learn from anyone. And as we discussed on the show yesterday, I said we get stuck on the black of the hand and the white of the palm, but miss the function of the arm to lift the next person up to the next level. Like if we're going into a surgery and we need a heart transplant, I really don't care if the person is black, white, Asian, brown. I don't care. Does he have the expertise that I need?
Right.
To transform or transplant that heart. And I think if we get that mindset, then all of this racial tension that we're looking at would slowly dissipate, because we're looking again at a title and the appearance of people instead of the content of people. And we can only know that when we start to have these conversations, right? And so
Absolutely.
That's why I'm so glad that we're having this conversation here. Jeff, when you were growing up, when you're getting your, degrees and so forth, when you're trying to accumulate knowledge, trying to become all that you can be, what was the greatest challenge that you have ever experienced? I mean, like, can you put it into words for us? Because our people are watching and they're having challenges. What was one of your greatest challenge, and how did you overcome it?
There's so many. One of my greatest challenges that I faced is my own failures. And because, especially as a coach, we talk to our clients and talk to them about learning from your failures, and failure is the path to success, fail forward, all these cliche things that we say, and there's so much truth behind it. But it's different when you're the one failing. When you're in the middle of failure, it doesn't matter how many cliche quotes you repeat to yourself and tell yourself you're going to learn from this experience. It's still hard and it's still not fun. And I've been in a situation where I had a business that should have failed and I drug it out longer than it should have, which it ended up failing regardless. But because I didn't allow it to fail when I would have told a client to, it ended up costing more. It ended up hurting more in the long run. And it was my own fear to fail. And it was a big learning experience for me. But it's failure is hard, but it's also our biggest teacher as well.
I absolutely love that. Failure is our biggest teacher as well. Um, do you think it's the failure part or the failing part that means more, that is more beneficial, that has the greater ROI as opposed to the life lesson? Because yes, we can fail, but we wouldn't learn the lesson from it. And the reason why now that has become such a platform, that has become such a foundation for you, because you realize that there were life lessons within the failure itself, But how do you help your clients to really see that look at the failures as the life lessons that are going to be the steps that's going to end up making the staircase to get you to your dream? How do you get them to see that?
A lot of it is your perspective on it, and realizing that, and having the attitude that everything that's happening is happening for me, not to me. Because when you realize that it's happening for you and there's a lesson behind it, if you're doing everything you can, if you've got integrity, if you're doing everything you can to honestly be successful, and things just don't work out and you fail, you've got to look at that as that happened for me. There's lessons in this to learn, regardless of how hard it is. It's still not going to be fun, but recognize what the lessons are, because you're not going to sit and wallow in your pain for the next 20 years. You've got to move on. And so what am I learning from it, and how am I going to be successful and use this as a lesson to be successful?
Excellent. I love that question, Jeff. But the thing that I'm going to take from this conversation here, and I'm going to tweet this out, I'm going to quote you on it, that everything is not happening to you, it's happening for you. So whenever you see that tweet out, when you see that post out, your name is going to be at the bottom, because that right there resonates with me. And I think when I can see why you are a mindset coach, because you got to have the right dialogue to kind of combat, those talks that are pre-recorded, but are now playing back to you. So it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking with Mr. Jeff Heggie. And Mr. Jeff is a mindset coach with over 20 plus years of experience helping people to break through the mental and physical barriers. Jeff and his wife, Tamara, both grew up in southern Alberta, but now makes Arizona their home. Family and sport has always been an important part of his life. He loves spending time coaching or watching his kids. His former professional rodeo cowboy has over 20 years of experience coaching basketball. Now, this brings me to the point, one of my dreams and one of my goals is really to play in the Olympics and represent Canada. I love basketball. My background is in martial arts, as a matter of fact, right? But something in me, I get up and I go run every day, like every 3 days I go run, and I'm running like these 10 and 15K. So I'm training, and I reached out to a couple of individuals, but I am looking about going to try out. I tried out I think about 6 years ago or something like that. You're not a citizen. You can't play for this country. It's like, but I live here. We think, no, you can't. So I've learned that. But since then, I've got my citizenship and I'm looking about trying out again. So I'm training for that. So I'm definitely going to be reaching out to you for some kind of a guidance and stuff like that, because it's possible. It's possible I can do that.
Very cool.
Very
I
cool.
love that.
Yes, I'm definitely going to be reaching out to you. So, Jeff, I know that we've talked about, some of the challenges that you've been through and talked about your family and background. So what I wanted to kind of talk about right now, and we're going to do this for about another 1 minute. And then after we go into the favorite part of our show, we call Think, Fire, Shoot. And Think, Fire, Shoot is a partner show when we put you on the hot seat and then we ask you 4 questions and we give you only 15 seconds per question. It's very hot seats, very difficult questions. I know you're going to do extremely well. I can see the look in your face. You're going to do amazing. All right. So the next question is simply this. If you were to give, it's really 2 questions. Where do you see yourself and your coaching business in the next 5 years? In the next 5 years, where do you see yourself and your coaching business?
I really see it grow into a point where I'm continue to coaching with the entrepreneurs and business side, because that's where I'm really passionate about. But what I've been putting a lot more focus onto lately is the athletes. And that's really something that I'm really passionate about. And I see that growing a lot more. And so right now I've got a program called the Confident Athlete Program. And I look at that as something that's going to grow significantly, and where I work with the individual athletes through that. But I also look at working with a lot more teams in a team aspect of it.
So how do you go about coaching your athlete? Is this a one-on-one? Is this a group kind of coaching? And walk us through like a session. What be the typical session? What would this typical session be like?
For sure. So what the Confident Athlete Program is it's actually a 6-module course, and each week they go through a module. And for example, in the first week, the module is all about understanding the confidence cycle, understanding how to build momentum and those sort of things. And then once a week, we get on a group coaching call where I'll coach them on a specific subject. And, it's all tied into confidence and building your confidence and your mindset. And then the following week, module 2 gets into really getting clear on their goals and where they're trying to go with things and understanding their why, what we talked about earlier. And it builds through all that. And each module builds upon itself. And every week we have the coaching call that we continue to build on the confidence part of it. And then we, the part that I love, and it's so important right now, is module 6 is really focused on mindset. And actually before that, one of the most important modules is teaching them the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, because so many don't understand that. And when they gain that knowledge, using myself as an example, before I knew these things myself, I was coaching my daughter from when she was young all the way till she graduated high school. And if I would have known these things earlier in my career, I would have been a better coach for her. She would have been a better athlete overall, I think. And so these are things, the sooner they can learn them, the better off they are, because it's going to help them as they develop as athletes. But in the final module, we talk about the mindset plus mental health, because you look at what these athletes have been through this last year and a half, with seasons being canceled, with everything that they've gone through, with recruiting changing. There's really been a huge impact on their mental health. And so we really put a lot of focus on that and help them understand the impact of that and how to deal with that. And so it's been, through the program, they do the modules themselves, but then we come together in a group coaching environment. And depending on how I'm working with them, some of them continue on and we do some one-on-one stuff after that. But in the program itself, it's once a week, we're on a group call. And then throughout the week, they're going through the modules and they have access to me through email and whatnot.
So is this, for example, is this a program that they receive like a certification from at the end of the training, at the end of the course? So they get a certification to say, yes, you've completed this. And what does the end result look like? What does it look like? So I finished this training. what am I now able to do? What are some of the takeaways that I know I have this foundation because I've gone through this program? What am I now able to do that I wasn't able to do before?
The number one thing I would say is they've shifted that mindset to understand the growth mindset so that they understand how to use their mindset to better themselves. And that, you know, the real thing about this is the athletics is just a reflection on life. And so every single thing that we talk about is something that completely transfers into the rest of their life, that the things they learn are going to help them forever. And so the biggest thing is understanding what the growth mindset is and how to get to that mindset, and to recognize when they're in a fixed mindset and how to make that shift, but also how to build their own confidence up with whatever they're doing. And when it's low, how to make the shifts and changes to get that confidence back. Those are the biggest things they're going to learn out of it. It's not a official certificate program. It's a certificate program through me and my company. But the biggest thing is the way that they will have more control over their confidence and their mindset.
That is beautiful. Have you read a book by Carol Dweck called The Growth Mindset? Have you read that book? Carol Dweck.
Incredible book.
Oh,
in fact,
gosh.
She's quoted in my program quite a bit.
Oh, she's the queen of the stuff. Do you hear what I'm saying? I read that book. I read it over. I probably read that book at least 15 times. My wife thought I was losing it when I was reading the book. No, I'm reading it again. No, I got to read it again. Because the thing is that, you know, if you're really not growing, you know, you're fixed somewhere, you know, and helping people to get unstuck, so to speak, to help them to understand you're always evolving, you're always growing. And so the growth mindset helps you to adapt to whatever curveball life throws at you. And really, that's really why I love it. So you're doing an amazing thing out there. And I'm just glad that we connected. So I want to tell the people again that if you really need some help from an athletic perspective and or entrepreneurial perspective to help you with that mindset, I want to implore you, run, skip, up, jump, get over there, fly over there and connect with Mr. Jeff Heggie at jeffheggie.com. Make sure you go and check him out. He's out there on social media at Jeff Heggie. You got to go and check him out. He's also out there. I want to list his website. It's called beacons.ai/Jeff Heggie Coaching. And the next one is on Instagram. That is instagram.com/Jeff Heggie Coaching. And you can also reach him on linkedin.com/Jeff Heggie Coach. You can find him out there. If you miss and don't find him, just look up Jeff Heggie. You cannot miss the man. All right. So what I want to do right now, Jeff, is time for Think, Fire, and Shoot. Are you ready, my brother?
Let's do it.
All right. Okay. So, Jeff, I got the clock here. I'm ready to rock and roll. I am putting 15 seconds on the clock, Jeff. And you know about the shot clock. You know what I'm talking about. So I don't expect you to miss any of these shots. I do want you to take the shot, though, because if you don't take the shot, then you don't have any chance of scoring. You understand what I'm saying, right?
You bet.
All right. Well, this is the part that I love, Jeff. All right, so what you're going to do right now, the first thing you're going to do, you're going to say your name. You're going to say what you do, probably in a line. My name is Jeff Heggie, and this is what I do. And I'm now on the Think, Fire, Shoot, and podcast. Ready? And then we're going to come in. So that way, hey, man, if you don't pass, this is on you, my brother. I know you got this. The seat is hot. We just turned on the stove, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Think, Fire, Shoot on the Podcast. Our guest today is none other than Mr. Jeff Heggie. So, ladies and gentlemen, meet Mr. Jeff Heggie. Jeff, go ahead. Tell him who you are.
Hey, thank you. I'm Jeff Heggie. I'm a success coach. I work on mindset development with entrepreneurs and athletes, and I am on the Think, Fire, Shoot podcast, and I appreciate being here.
All right, Jeff, we're ready to rock and roll. Okay, so here's your first question. when we're talking about, let's say, for example, beatitude. Beatitude. These are the attitude based on the characteristic of an individual. And we're looking at it from an athletic perspective. What kind of character? How do you decide what character to portray when you're having a bad game day? How do you decide what characteristics to portray when you're having a bad game day? Go.
I think the biggest thing right there is leadership, because as the other players on your team see that you might be having a bad game, your leadership can show them how they could react to that and how they can follow suit. And just because you're having a bad game doesn't mean you're going to fall apart and everything is going to go south on you. You just create that leadership position and use the rest of the team to help you be successful.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, 23.92 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, 23.92 seconds. So we're going to subtract all of that time, that's 7.92 seconds, and then we're going to add it to his next interview. All right, so we know that Jeff is coming back. So we're going to pay this forward. All right, the next question is simply this. You're on the road. It's a quote from my upcoming book. On the road of life, many people spend their time staring in the rear view mirror. When on the highway of living, they should be focusing on the windshield ahead. What say ye? Go.
Sorry, you cut out on me right at the beginning.
All right, let's go again. Let's retake this question. I'm going to reset the clock, ladies and gentlemen. So on the road of life, most people spend their time looking in the rear view mirror. But on the highway of living, they should be paying attention to the windshield ahead. What say ye?
Absolutely. The things in the rearview mirror have happened. You can't change them. You have no control over that. You've got to focus on the things ahead of you that you can control on and have an impact on.
Boom. 11.84 seconds. The man is heating up, ladies and gentlemen, and the crowd goes wild, and his team has got possession of the ball. It's a timeout. It's a quick timeout, ladies and gentlemen. All right, here's the next question. The question is simply this. If our successes are based on the amount of failures that a person endures, how do you coach them to fail quicker and faster? Ready? Go.
Accept that failure is a possibility and learn from it quickly and take those lessons and apply it to what you're going to be doing going forward.
Boom! It's heating up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's turn up the pot. Let's turn up the stove. We got 8.07 seconds. He is roasting, ladies and gentlemen. It's the third question. We're going down into the final question. You are listening to Andrew E. Guy on the Ilirpodcast and Think, Fire, and Shoot with Mr. Jeff Heggie, and he's on fire. Woo! Last question, and we're going to get the ball tip off and we get ready here for the last quarter. All right, the last question is simply this. If you were to tell someone what they need to do to transform their lives in 5 seconds or less, what would it be? Go.
Find a coach or a mentor.
Boom. 2.95 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we do here on Think, Fire, Shoot. We want to make sure we start high and finish low on the time. And I'm talking 2.95 seconds. He roasted. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited for the time to hang out with Mr. Jeff Heggie. Please remember that if you need a coach, you need some counseling, some mentoring, you need anything has to do with basketball or training an athlete, reach out there to him at jeffheggie.com. You can find him all over social media, Jeff Heggie. You can find him, reach out there, and I need you to get out there. We need at least 200 followers after you finish listening to this podcast, and get out there and follow the man. I am also following him, so I have already taken the step to following him. Get out there and follow him and support him in what he does. All right, listen, Jeff, I'm going to give you the last word, my brother, because everyone that comes on here, we give them the last word because they're more important than me. I'm just a vessel. All right, take it away. It's your time.
You know what? Whether you're an entrepreneur or an athlete, I'm going to do it in the athletic perspective, but it's the same thing with entrepreneurs. We put so much time and focus and effort into the physical aspect of our game, and that is obviously important. That's something we need to do, but it's also the mental game that can differentiate us, that can separate us from the good and the best. And so put your time and effort into developing your mental game, understand how your mindset works, understand what you need to do to take it to that next level. And that's what I do. I help people to do that.
Awesome, man. Awesome. All right, Jeff. This was simply fantastic. And we want to say thank you to Jeff Heggie for coming out and hanging out with us. And listen, if you have any questions, please make sure that you reach out to Mr. Jeff Heggie. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew E. Guy. Thank you for hanging out with us on the Ilirpodcast. I'm listening. I'm ready. And on behalf of myself and Mr. Jeff Heggie, we want to say take care of yourself and have yourself a fantastic rest of the day.
Until then, take care. Peace.
Until next time, keep listening, live ready, talk soon.